one thing which, in my understanding, is agreeable to all the members, that the South Sea property ought to be developed. Whatever is to be developed there, and how it's going to be done, that basically becomes the context, or becomes what is contentious. So you should be free to discuss, knowing that this is not an exercise in futility. It is a situation where we can advise any future gathering of the Law Society, advise any other council of the Law Society on how to proceed in the event that there is that kind of a decision eventually, either here or in another forum.
We try to group the progress of a project into these four broad stages or phases. The first stage is what we call pre-design. So this is before any pen or paper is put down. So we normally recommend that feasibilities are done, business plans are done, budgets are prepared, and a project brief, which basically summarizes, possibly on a page, what is this project about. Then you look at sources of raising finance, and once that is ready, then the procurement of the design team progresses. During the design stage, it's also a progressive process. We start off with a concept design, so you have an initial concept design, people deliberate on that, and then you develop the detail of that design progressively until you have your final design.
I would like to hear from you as a professional. How much of your advice to the council considered alternatives?
Okay. Quickly address those questions that have been raised. So in terms of the brief, Madam, as you asked your question, you're right. When we got involved, the project had already progressed. It's actually not a very uncommon thing to happen with many clients who are building for their first time. Most people who are building for their first time go straight to an architect. Even if it's a house, you want to put up your house or anything, you typically go to an architect and say, I'm thinking of this, can you give me a concept of what it looks like? So that's a very common thing. Before then, you actually say, I need to step back and verify, are my requirements right?
The building has 2 floors as basement. We have 2 podium floors. The podium floors are what you see in between the 2 towers, a small section in there. Then, which now contains an arbitration center and some meeting room. Then we have 3 floors on the hotel tower, which is to the right of the image. The tower, which are 13 keys, 13 rooms, that is. 3 floors of his tower, which are all lettable commercial space, which is the tower now to your left.
Is 3 terminologies: the construction cost, the development cost, and the project cost. The construction cost is what you actually pay to contractors. The project cost is the overall cost of the project, of the development minus land. The development cost is everything inclusive of land.
The meeting went well, and you as witnesses who are here will know that the only reason that this meeting can be described as peaceful or amicable is because people were allowed to air their views, something that we have not seen in previous meetings of the Law Society of Kenya. So we want to encourage the leadership of the society to continue in that spirit, and we feel strongly that if we can remove all the issues that are amongst the members from the forums in which they are being articulated now, especially in the media and in the courts, we as members of the Law Society have the capacity to be able to find a solution to all the problems bedeviling society. So going forward from today, I think it's going to be very crucial what the leadership of the Law Society does and says, because that will be the greatest indication of the levels of commitment to what has been resolved here today. That is all.
But what is most important for you to note is that this was not a general meeting of the members. So it is neither a special general meeting or an ordinary meeting of members. So any resolutions that were made here or any decisions that have been arrived at are not binding to members. But we've just been able to air our views, and I would echo what Edwin has said. It was a successful meeting, because the moment you don't bottle up somebody, then things go well.